everyone, it's Jaimunji here from Metal on Tap, and I am here with these two lovely gentlemen today. Would you like to introduce yourself to the people, boys?
Hello, I'm Anthony from Valhalore.
And I'm Lockie from Valhalore.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, fellas, there's a reason I have you here today. The new album is out in just under 2 weeks now. This kind of feels like it's been forever in the making. How are you boys feeling?
Well, let's be honest, man. It has been forever. After many setbacks and many roadblocks and a roller coaster of emotions, it honestly feels really surreal to know that it's coming out in under 2 weeks.
Well, that's it too, man. I've got to listen to the album as well. So even if you guys delay it on me, I've got it. So, lucky me.
Oh, yeah. That's the main thing. That's all that matters. Yeah, as long as you have it.
I was going to say, because the single releases, they're doing great. Like The Storm's passed over 100,000 views or something now. How's that kind of been riding on you guys as well? Because that's a big effort. That's a big feat.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal still. This whole kind of weird journey to get to this point of the album finally being released. As Ant said, there's been so many roadblocks and setbacks, and now for everything to be received so well, it's really quite mind blowing. And we're so grateful that everyone has stuck by us and seems to be as excited as we are about this new material. So we're just hyped to share more music and hope it all gets the same kind of response. It's crazy.
That's what I was going to say as well, because the album as well. How did you guys even pick these singles? Because I listened start to finish, and this is not me just blowing smoke. It's oops or bangers. Everything on this track just fit perfectly. It was awesome. I know you're all grinning and you're like, you're just being nice. No, I truly mean it. I truly enjoyed this start to finish. How'd you go about it? Like, that must have been hard, because the second track, what was the edge of, I was like, that could have been the first single. This could have been the single. Like, how'd it come together?
Man, it was going to be.
It was going to be the single.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know. How do we pick it? Well,
I'd say we landed on Horizon because it is very heavily acoustic guitar intro to start. There's a lot of light and shade moments in that song. We thought Horizon was probably the best song to just show the classic Valhalore sound, but just show a maturity on that sound. So I think that's how we came to Horizon there. And then Wayfinder, we chose that one because it was a bit left of field, as you said in your lovely song reaction, that just, throwing people a curveball with the ballad and then, doing our take on it. We thought it was an appropriate second single there, and it went quite well for us too. So it worked out in that regard. And then, we were like, well, we've got to give them the complete opposite then. And then, Storm is the complete opposite. So that's kind of how we landed on the singles there. But you were right, we were talking about Edge of Forever being a single. We're still debating about another song being a single post album release. Yeah. So yeah, that's cool that you think that though, man. Thank you.
No, of course. And I do love, and I've got to mention it to anyone who hasn't checked out The Storm yet as well. I just keep singing the praise of that song, because that little 8-second interlude you have that completely goes left of field, all soft, lovely, and the music video having the flowers and the bright colors, and Lachlan, you almost coming back to life in that little bit and then switching right back to the darkness. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. How'd that come together? Was that just something that naturally fit into the song, or was that something you guys workshopped together to put in?
It's funny, actually. We've been going through a lot of material on an SD card, because we filmed a lot of just the rehearsal process and the album recording process, and we actually found a video the other day which was the first rehearsal of The Storm, and it's Anthony and I haggling over whether we bother with the acoustic interlude or whether it's a momentum killer, and he was super married to it. I'm like, I just don't think it has the grit. He's like, if we put a groove behind it, it'll be really cool. And so I'm glad you were right, as always, as is usually the case.
What can I say?
Yeah, no, I think it was one of those things that obviously the idea was there, and it just took some workshopping, and then it came to a point where musically it still made sense whilst having a little breath, as you kind of say. It's that little moment of and then just back to the brutality.
Yeah. And I love it. And the lesson here is listen to your redheaded friends. We know what we're talking about.
They do. You soulless.
And there's a surprise on this album as well. I don't know if you want to talk about it yet, but Anna Murphy getting on this one. That, because it didn't actually come up on the track listing. I was like, nah, surely that's her voice. And then I did a bit of digging, and I was like, oh, there she is. How'd that come together? And when did that come together?
Yeah, with that track in particular, I think, during the lyric writing process, kind of as we were, rapidly closing in on studio time, we felt that the album needed a duet by this point, particularly where it kind of lands in the album. And it was just one of those things that was kind of said in passing as a joke, like, oh, I can totally hear Anna Murphy singing this, but we'll never be able to get her because, we're in Australia and who knows her. And then weirdly enough, we mentioned it just in passing in front of our producer, Sam Ballum, and he's like, oh, I know the drummer from Cellar Darling or something because we were meant to do some shows together. Let me get in touch with him and put you guys in touch with her. So we kind of had this nice little phone tree moment. And then, eventually got in touch with Anna, who's the absolute, loveliest, most wonderful person. She was incredible. And then, through the wonders of the internet, we were able to send tracks and whatnot back and forth, and she really dug the song and, graciously agreed to be a part of it. So, it's crazy to have, I can now say I've sung a duet with Anna Murphy. Like, it's mental, and I think it's a really beautiful, moment on the album.
Yeah. It really is too, and it's placed well in the album too, coming right towards the end. I do kind of like, and this album is a bit like a movie score where it's going through its waves, and you've got all these little instrumental interludes before songs as well, and then it just closes on this big epic thing. It really does try and kind of feel like a soundtrack. Did you guys have any kind of discussions or battles on how this album was going to flow, or did it just naturally go that way? Because it does feel very natural the way the album kind of...
Yeah, man, like, yes, we did, but even at the beginning, we kind of knew that, oh, this song is going to be near the beginning. Mm-hmm. Oh, this song is going to be at the end. Yeah. Oh, this song feels like a song in the middle. And, we kind of had the rough orders of everything because it just felt right, And then obviously a little bit of tweaking here and there. I think Horizon was a lot earlier, and then we decided to push it back a little. I'm really happy with the placement of Horizon now, especially, coming out of what starts it off. Yeah. it fits nice.
Yeah. And now you get to kind of play these songs to the world. And I know you've been kind of dripping them into the set list over time, but you do have, and we've got to talk about it, you've got these big shows coming up in May as well. Have you got the set list nailed down, or are you still kind of fine-tuning that a little bit?
We have it nailed down, and look, man, I'm just going to be honest with you. It absolutely slaps.
It slaps.
It is just, it's all that we'd want in a set list, and we hope that it's all that, the listeners would want to, and the concert goers.
Yeah.
No, I know a lot of people are very excited for these shows coming up as well, and it's good to kind of see you guys on a headlining show. I've always seen you, who have seen Arch Enemy, Ailstorm, Hammerfall, Blind Guardian. You guys have open for like the legends of legends when it comes to these bands. How's that experience, and how's it helped you guys grow as artists and performers live as well? Because it's got to rub off eventually.
I think the biggest takeaway from me, because obviously they say you should never meet your idols, right? But Blind Guardian, for example, for me are one of the, if not the reason I wanted to be in a heavy metal band. So getting that email was an absolute pinch me moment. But I think it was just really refreshing and just really cool to see that all of these bands who are, the pinnacles of their career are essentially just us in 10 years. Like, it's the same mentality. It's the same, we're just here to work and we're here to put on a great show, and they're still so passionate about what they do. And there's no egos. There's just none of that, which, you kind of, if that was the case with any of these bands, you'd be like, oh, well, they're legends, like, fair enough. But there was just none of that. Everyone was so lovely. And, all of them made the time to come and make us feel super welcome. And it was just, it was really cool. So I think that was the big takeaway, was just keep following the passion and keep grinding and stay humble and the good things will come. So, yeah.
No, that's beautiful. And it's something you want to hear as well. And I've got to ask this question too, because I love the music Valhalore makes. But in Australia, especially when you guys started too, there was no one doing anything like this. There's not really a lot of bands doing this now down here. It's very much almost a European sound. Like, how did you find this band of misfits all to come together to make this music? Because it's, like I said, it's not popular. Well, it wasn't popular down here, especially back when you guys started, what was 10, 12 years ago now?
Yeah.
Man, I mean, like, yeah, we can absolutely say that on a local sense, but as soon as like an international folk metal band comes to Australia, there's hundreds of people at those shows and they come out in droves, every single one. And I remember, even back 10 years, like Elvady playing, just up here in Brisbane, it was hundreds of people at the show. So like, clearly people like the music, the genre, they do. And there's clearly a scene here because people come out in the hundreds to see these shows. But on a local level, yeah, you're right. Especially back 10 years, it was very minimal. We actually started at the same time a bunch of other folk metal bands started in Brisbane. Sadly, I think we're the only band remaining out of those that started at the time. But look, man, looking ahead, I really hope that we can hopefully influence some new bands to pick up the torch, so to speak, and carry the genre forward in Australia.
And it's one of those things too. You're getting so many of these bands coming down, like your power metal, your folk metal. What were the bands? I know you mentioned Blind Guardian before, but what were some of the bands that kind of influenced you? I'm a big fan of like a Voyage, for example. That's a band that a lot of people. Well, maybe they do. Maybe if they announced a tour down here, they would come in droves. But what kind of got you guys going?
I mean, yeah, as I said, Blind Guardian was always a massive one for me. In that same vein, Nightwish is a huge influence on, I think, all of us. I think that's probably one of the few bands that all six of us collectively actively listen to, because we all have such varied kind of taste in music, especially heavy music. So yeah, I kind of went from being a punk kid into like the symphonic and power metal kind of scene that then got me into folk metal and melodic death metal. So that was kind of my way into this. And a lot of my music taste nowadays is actually bands that Anthony introduced me to, 13 years ago, however long it was that we met.
Yeah. For me, it's just classic Children of Bodom, Winter Sun. I skipped the heavy metal phase and just went straight to Scandinavian metal. That's my story, man.
Mate, you sound like my brother. My brother, you pick up guitar. When I at least tried to pick up guitar, picked it up, tried to learn like Highway to Hell, Smoke on the Water. He was like, I want to learn Downfall by Children of Bodom. And he sat there for 3 months. And
that was me, man. Bed of Razors was my first metal song I learned. So
it's absolutely crazy. And it does reflect in the music a lot too, because I was sitting down with my wife and I was like, I really can't, because a lot of bands you can kind of pinpoint going, there's very obvious influences there, but there's so many different things. And I think some of it comes to the guitar playing and the solos, but a lot of it too comes from your voice, Lachlan. It's very different to hear that kind of power metal vibe. You've got such a sweet, smooth tone to your voice, but then almost like that Gothenburg melodic death metal sound as well. Did you learn to scream and then sing, or were you a singer then a screamer?
I was definitely a singer than a screamer. I mean, I also had the classic kind of teenage thing of trying to start like a punky metalcore, whatever angsty band that we all kind of had at that time in our lives. And I think my screaming voice I didn't really find until actually meeting Anthony and being in Valhalore, because during that first band I was trying to sound like all the people I listened to, right? I was trying to sound like your Matt Heafys and your Corey Taylors and Danny Warsnop from Asking Alexandria, all those kinds of guys. And at that point, I'd been like a musical theatre kid. Yeah. So all my singing was very like classically based and kind of opera based, and then listening to all my angsty teenage music and trying to sound like these guys. And then as I mentioned, like Anthony introduced me to all these kind of Gothenburgy, Scandi bands, and I was like, you can scream in like a blokey way rather than trying to be like kind of high pitched and shrieky. And it just, I don't know, from then it just kind of came naturally. So it's nice to be able to use both of those skill sets. Yeah, it's good fun.
I'm not going to call it the Gothenburg stuff anymore. I'm going to call it the blokey scream. That's what it's.
Blokey scream. Yeah, like, because again, it was all like the trendy metalcore stuff, which is no shade because I still listen to all that stuff today. But it was like, the Amon Amarth and all that was a bit more like low and guttural. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I know what you mean. Yeah. And they've got a way of pronouncing stuff a lot as well with that type of thing too. You get a lot of that. You can hear everything. You can understand everything. That's
what I say too. Yeah. The enunciation with it is really good. And when people say, I can't understand it because it's screaming, and I go, well, you're wrong, because check this out. You can hear everything.
I hate people who say that too, because half the time, most pop songs I've ever listened to, I've gone back and looked at lyrics going, I've been getting that wrong my whole life. So at the end of the day, man, I'm that type of person that stares here just nodding, going, not understanding the bloody word you said. So I don't care, man. But it is what it is at the end of the day.
Does it sound good? Yes. Okay, I'm good. You know? Yeah.
That's it. I like it when they make the rah-rahs and the blares in my ears. It's it's soothing.
Yep.
It's soothing. But boys, as well, going back to the album and the track listing and everything you want to play live, is there anything on this one that you didn't think was ever going to make the album? Because you were going to release it, I believe, in 2024, and it got pushed back to this year as well. Did any tweaks happen in that time? Did you do any new songwriting? Did you go back and go, oh, let's work on this, or even leading up to it? Because when did you first start writing this album? Was it like 2020? I remember Lockie posted something the other day.
Right. Okay. Well, a lot of these songs, some of them were written in 2017, around the same time Legacy was being written. Legacy was actually supposed to come out as a 2-part single with Wayfinder, funnily enough. That obviously didn't happen. And, you know, we were meant to go to Europe twice to play Barkin and do a 6-week tour with Bukovina in 2020, which, you know, was a fantastic opportunity, but unfortunately the COVID. So we decided to just put all our resources into making the album. And from 2020, end of 2020 to early 2021, we finished that. It was done by August 2021, I believe. And then at that point, it was a lot of back and forth with labels, and we were still deciding whether to go, you know, independently. And we went through a few different managerial things. And, you know, and then the label we were talking to rebranded themselves. So there was a lot of just waiting on that as well. And, you know, these are all the roadblocks that, you know, meaning when we talk about the situation. But you know, fortunately now, 2024, we were going to release it independently. The opportunity came up again, and we thought, okay, well, let's give this album the best shot it can and release it through this label. And here we are now. But to answer your question, no, when it was finished in 2021 in August, we haven't thought about touching it or redoing anything or anything like that.
I mean, I think. Yeah,
you joke about
not in terms of like changing the track listing or anything, but I think just us as people, you know, especially because so much time has passed, you do kind of go, oh man, if I could go back and re-record that today, I'd do this instead. But no, we left it because I don't know. I'm very much of the opinion that you know, albums and songs are just they're a moment in time, and it's good to kind of leave them as they are, so you can kind of look back and be like, all right, that was then and this is now, and we can move on from it. So no, I'm still very proud of the whole thing, and I think the whole album has a really beautiful flow to it.
Has it been hard not to kind of like play all these songs live since they've been written for so long, or it was something you just were like, well, no, we need to sit on it because we can't kind of release the whole thing in drips and drabs over years, because when the album comes out, it's not new anymore?
It has been so tempting just to post a Dropbox link, and it's just the album, and it's just like, just enjoy, guys. Like, we're sick of waiting, we're sick of sitting on it. Just have fun. Yes, it's been hard, man. Yeah, and we have played, you know, a few of the songs live, but there are a lot of the songs on there we haven't played live.
Yeah, the vast majority.
So it'll hopefully still feel very new and fresh for everyone.
I think, coming back to what you were asking earlier about like how we chose the singles, I think when we had an idea of what songs we wanted the singles to be, that was when we started being like, okay, well, why don't we sneak this into the set list and see what the kind of the reaction to it is in a live environment. So we went, okay, people like this, so therefore, you know, maybe that is the good choice, and we were right. So that's also been a bit of a factor in why we've kind of been sneaking a song here and there into the past few support tours.
Yeah, no, clever. Good way to do it, you know, testing the waters before putting it out there. Oh, yeah, exactly. And filming the music videos. Okay, now the album's been done for a long time, but obviously the music videos are a lot fresher. But were any of these recorded quite some time ago versus another, or have they all kind of been a bit more back to back?
When was Horizon?
Horizon was
that 2023 or 2024?
End of 20. It was summer, obviously,
because it came out independently 2024, like February. I think it must have been 2023.
I think it was like January 2024.
Oh wow!
So Yeah.
Okay.
I vaguely remember it being like the 20th or something because it was like right in the middle of just a heat wave up here. So everyone got heat stroke on
Black
film
that out
Horizon.
of my memory,
Like
man.
every video has had a fun little challenge. But yeah, I think they were all filmed within about a 6-month window of each other at the beginning of 2024. So they're all pretty new and pretty fresh, which was cool because I love doing that stuff. Again, I'm a theatre kid, so this is all my bandmates being very obliging and saying, yes, Lockie, what are we doing today?
Yeah.
Oh, we're drowning you, thank God. Here's the revenge for all the past music videos that you've made us do. Yeah.
How'd you go filming the storm? Because I love the music video and the water as well. Because and it must have been kind of satisfying for you boys to kind of put Lockie underwater. How long were you in that tank for? Like getting soaked?
No idea, but like
you were in there too long.
I was in there too long. I got mild hypothermia and nearly actually drowned doing that video. We're gonna maybe do a little video about this later as a little fun fact.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't great. Because
middle of winter.
So we filmed one video in a heat wave in the middle of summer and no air conditioning. And then, the 1 week where Brisbane gets vaguely cold, dare I even call it winter, because, everyone in the rest of the world, like Queensland doesn't get cold. The 1 week where it gets cold, we're like, you know what we should do? Put Lockie in a pool at 10 p.m. on the coldest day of the year.
In a suit of armor.
In a suit of armor with a cloak. Sitting on a throne that's not at all going to tip and press you under the water, and then you get stuck in your armor and your cloak and you can't get up. So great day,
man. You say it wasn't just Lockie in the pool. We were all in there trying to black out the pool with fabrics and tarps, and you put weights on it. It was challenging. I got to a point where I physically couldn't get back in the pool because I was just so cold.
Been in there for ages.
I don't know how you did it, man.
No, it was a team effort. I mean, many shots of fireball were had just to literally stay warm because it was that cold. And as Ant said, there was about 3 or 4 of us who were in the pool at some point to do something. Another little fun fact, a little tidbit, is because, as I mentioned, the throne was tipping and I nearly went under a few times. For the rest of the shots that we got that we ended up making it into the video, it's actually Lucas who's behind the throne out of shot, like just holding the throne and just freezing, like in the water behind me, just stopping it from tipping over. So because I'm thrashing around and doing all this. And and Lucas came in and saved the day because Anthony was like, I'm tapped out, I'm not getting back in the water. Then I look over, I'm like, guys, I'm about to go under. And then Lucas is, Dave Hasselhoffing to my rescue. It was amazing.
It was awesome.
It was a beautiful moment. I've never seen anyone move so fast to come and help me. It was actually, like, oh, they don't want to see me die. That's nice. But no, it was cool. I love doing stuff like that. Again, we never do things the easy way. That'd be boring.
No, you don't do that. Where's the fun in that? You gotta have that risk. That's what makes it so rewarding at the end of the day.
Have that near-death experience.
Yeah. Nearly dying makes you feel alive. If you're immortal, everything would be boring.
And I think it added to the performance because it's me struggling to get out of the thing. It's like, no, I'm actually struggling to get out of the thing because I'm about to go underwater again. Let's not do that.
So what did we learn? We learned Assassin's Creed lied to us. You cannot swim in armor and a heavy cloak like you can in those games. So it's full of shit.
You don't have infinite stamina.
No.
I love that, and I love that you didn't die. That's a good thing. At the end of the day, we got out of it. Maybe you won't do another one in the pool. Maybe that's done and dusted, and you can move on to something else next time.
I've got some other ideas that we didn't get to either of these other videos because I've been itching to do a water shoot for pretty much all of these at some point.
The underwater thing.
No, we had a whole underwater sequence for another video, and I was just like, we do not have the money or the IMAX cameras required to make this happen.
The underwater scene.
I want to be James Cameron. I want to do Avatar. You know what I mean?
Maybe at the end of the day, you guys not having the budget for it's probably for the best. Maybe one day. One day.
No, I'd be too dangerous with unlimited resources.
Maybe for the best. We can do something else. Well, boys, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here today doing this interview. Both, thank you for waking up at 10 a.m. on a Sunday. I know you probably hate me for it. I promise I won't do it again next time we have to do one of these. But what do you want to say to the fans that are coming out? Because these shows are coming up and they're selling well, so people need to get out there and get their tickets. Do not get them at the door. There's no point getting tickets at the door. That's done and dusted. Don't be disappointed. So ticket links will be in the comments below. But boys, first hit us with the album, what you want to say to the fans for the album, then finish us off with the tour.
First of all, thank you, especially if you're a listener, thank you so very much for just waiting so long. We've been waiting long too, and we are really happy to finally get this out there for you. We hope you love the album. We're super stoked on it. We're super proud on it. We hope that you love it just as much as we do. And as for the shows, these are looking to be our biggest and best shows ever. We are discussing production, trying to make the shows not just an awesome experience, but just a memory as well. And we really want that for people to, talk about these shows and really remember how good the experience was. Yeah. So come along, don't miss it. These will be awesome.
Yeah, beautiful. Like I said, the ticket links will be in the comments down below. But boys, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for having us,
pleasure.
man.
You're an absolute legend.
No, cheers, dude.